So yeah, happy Mother's Day. How are you celebrating Mother's? How did you celebrate, and how are you celebrating?
For my mom, I cooked her breakfast this morning. I'm not a mother, but I do take care of my nieces, so I am getting a few Happy Mother's Day today. But I cooked breakfast for my mother, and later on, I'll be taking her to dinner. Gave her a few gifts, and so now we're just kind of relaxing. And I'm watching some good movies, and then on to some TV movies. And later on, we'll go out for dinner.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing. What about you, the Angel and Annalie, and doing live, Coach?
Well, I asked my daughter-in-law, does she want to invite her mother for Mother's Day lunch? And she says, we don't do that kind of thing. So I invited her mother over. I cooked for everybody, not for the mother, but for my granddaughters, so they have a good example.
I love that, Annalie.
Yes, definitely love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, some people do share it, and it's actually not the same day as I guess in different parts. But it's been great to get those Happy Mother's Day. My son actually surprised me today, and got me a one of those Pandora bracelets, and he put an eternity little trinket or so in it. So I'm like, oh, does that mean we're eternally together, and that you will never divorce me as your mother?
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's a yes.
yeah, no kidding. I'm like, oh, you got me a little eternity. Are you sure this is not for your girlfriend? He says, no, mom, this is for you. I said, well, that's so special because he's never really got me that stuff, and I never really cared. And so that was a big surprise coming from my 23-year-old son. Happy Mother's Day, Katya. And what you do today to celebrate your mother or whoever, and the angel if you're here.
Hello. Hi, Consuelo. Hi, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. What I did, I don't live nearby my mom, but I made a beautiful post, and she is on Facebook. So you see, my mom is an icon. So I write a beautiful post, and I attached a photo when I was a little kid. We were celebrating my birthday, and this is my favorite photo. And I wrote few words just to her in Croatian language, and of course she cried. But those were tears of joy, and you know what I mean by that. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's fantastic. Yeah, when we can write these beautiful poems or letters to our loved ones, it's just a higher being for me in illuminating someone and celebrating life. So, and today we are going to celebrate our beautiful brother, Mark Redfield. So, please continue to share the room to our community who wants to come and join us this evening. So welcome again this evening, and thank you for coming here, Billy, and supporting, and Annalie and the Angel and Katya. AJ said she was going to try to come, and the Lorianne has an engagement at 4 o'clock, so she feels really bad that she she feels like wanting to cancel. I said, please don't do that. She also very busy like everybody else, but so invite as many in your community if you can, because it is really going to be a segment. I won't keep it long for everyone, being Mother's Day. But again, welcome to the Fields of Hope. For those who don't know, I've been hosting Fields of Dream in Clubhouse weekly on Sunday evenings. And I kept it when I went as a beta tester in July in almost a year now in Chatter. So I started the show in August and changed it to Fields of Hope. because it did create a lot of hope for many people that I have either featured in the show or also just talk about emotional intelligence and helping many people navigate life with their challenges, giving some hope as to, and also collaborations with people. I do listen to many people here, and I encourage you to also share your business links, your website on the chat. I am one of those people that I don't mind when you share your rooms. I don't mind when you share your business here, because to me it's a network, and to me it's the only way we really get to know what people do. I'm very good with actually every person that I have seen new. I always click on their profile. I follow them if obviously it's something that I would like to be connected with in the community, and I also follow all their socials. So if your socials are linked in your profile, I automatically go into your socials and I start following. I may not make comments, but I see you now. So I don't go to Instagram on a regular basis anymore, but I do go in once in a while and post things, and I'll just catch up at that time. So please make sure to follow each other, because I would love that as a act of random kindness for everybody, and ensuring that we can continue to serve each other in this community on Chatter. So thank you again for being here today. This episode is really to be able to celebrate Mark Redfield. So let's get on with the show. So I themed today as legacy of voice, spirit, and stage. A spoken narrative, musical interludes, and clips from his work, Mark Redfield, is as a tribute to him today. And we will close with a few words from everybody, ask you a few things that you can share about Mark. This is recorded, so when he wakes from his slumber, and we'll just say it, from his coma, he will have this as part of his memory for all of you for sharing today as a special day. Today was actually the day that we locked in a schedule for him to be showcased in Fields of Hope, and he was very excited. And he said, "Are you sure you want to feature me?" I said, "Of course. I'm just, he was so delighted, and he was so happy. I didn't realize how honored he was." So I said, "Yeah." He goes, "No, I'm locking this date with you." Honored that today, and I wasn't going to cancel it. I was going to continue, and I appreciate that Billy King actually said, "Yes, you should continue," and many of our community said, "Yeah, you should continue." So today, in spirit, he is here with us because he knew he was going to be here with us this evening to be a special guest speaker. So before we start, I did write a prayer to awaken the soul of Mark Redfield. Divine Creator, breathe of all the lot that lives, we gather in quiet reverence with voices woven in gratitude and hope. Call forth, O Spirit of Light, and let your warmth move through Mark, from crown to heart, from heart to heel. Let the morning of his soul arise, not rushed, not shaken, but steady as a stage light returning after the hush. May the songs we offer, the stories we remember, be like winds of this window and his window, reminding him that we are near and that his voice still matters. Speak gently into the chambers of his being, not as a thunder, but a lullaby, not as urgency, but as an invitation. Mark, beloved artist of word and breath, your story is not done. Your light is still being dawned in strokes of gold and violet. We are here celebrating you, your friends, Doing Life Coach, Billy King, Anna Lee, The Angel, Katya, Jew, Don Juan. So your light is still being drawn in strokes of gold and violet, that we are here celebrating you, waiting with joy of the echo of your return. In love and honor, in faith, we speak your name into the world, Mark Redfield. arise in presence and peace. Amen. So welcome to the Fields of Hope, where we honor, well, I honor, and all of us honor artists who are not only the ones who are who tell stories, but they become them, the storytellers themselves, and live and breathe. So I'm Consuelo Benson. I'm in the film industry since 2012 as a momager, chaperone for my son who was a film and theater actor. And I became also full actor in 2017 because I really enjoyed that as a second job, and I still continue to do so until my last breath. So, and I also have started producing short films, and I am honored to be part of the film and entertainment industry, not only in Clubhouse with Judah Ray, with The Angel, Billy King, and so many others, that this is how we grew to love each other, including Mark Redfield in our community from Clubhouse when we all started. And Mark also co-hosts the rooms when I have special guest speakers who are artists, music artists, from authors, and also entrepreneurs, business owners who own and actually need to be celebrated. And I started this room again in August, and I started hosting special guests in November. So for those of you, please follow the channel, Fields of Hope, on top in that icon. And I do have two other channels, which is a pop-up room called ARC, Act of Random Kindness, and I'll be starting the Travel and Hospitality Network. So Mark Redfield, for those who don't know, was born with a passion for performance. And we have seen it because he has performed with us live on Clubhouse and also on Chatter. So he has a passion for performance, a pen for storytelling. And Mark is a writer, director, producer, actor whose career spans decades. Mark is best known for his dedication for independent filmmaking, theater, and audio drama, including his award-winning portrayals of classic characters and his passionate revival of Gothic literature. He is the founder of Redfield's Audio and Art Studio, where he breathes life into forgotten voices and timeless scripts, from Shakespeare to Poe, Dracula to original heroes. Redfield's craft is defined by his haunting intensity, intelligence, and independence. He studied at Towson University in Towson State. His theatrical career launched both on and off stage before transitioning into producing full-length films and intricate audio productions. And so I will share a few of them for you. Let's take Poe, the voice of a generation, which he continued to serve this beautiful artistry of Poe. And Mark's love for classic literature led to some of his most powerful work. His dedication to Edgar Allan Poe is more than a homage, it's a legacy. He wrote, directed, and starred in the feature film Death of Poe, which remains a cult favorite and educational tool across universities. His voice has carried Hamlet's grief and Prospero's command. His hands, Shakespeare, becomes visceral aloud. Mark is a storyteller's storyteller. Every breath he takes into a role, he fills with empathy and lots of fire. In a world moving fast, Mark invites us to pause and listen. Through Redfield Art Studio, he has produced original audio dramas, literary adaptations, and podcast series that fuse theater and cinema into a mid's eye. He revives a lost art, a golden age of radio that transforms into something, modern and timeless. I just can't say enough of what he does. And these aren't just performances, they're sound sculptures. They're stories you don't watch, you experience. Mark's artistry is generous. He mentors young actors, collaborates with diverse voices, and champions stories that would otherwise be silenced. For those of us living with pain, fatigue, challenge, invisible battles, Mark reminds us of the vitality of voice, that we are never without a story and never without power. A lot of people that I have heard of that Mark has kind of, not only you guys have saved him, and he's told this to me many times, but his storytelling has also saved many dark moments in people's lives. So I'm happy to say that he honors all of you because he continues to say how beautiful our community is. And he honors you for the work that you do, and you know this. Mark walks among the echoes of old stages, future scripts. He teaches us that artistry is not fame, it's presence. The voice is not volume, but it is truth. And in the stillness of his mic, the hush of the dark literature and Peter, and on that worn paperback's edge is Mark, our light. For those who don't know, I will share right now Mark's beautiful website. If for those who don't know, if you can see it, please let me know. If you can't, just go down the stage and we will move you. So Mark's work is really all truly in his website. If you haven't seen Mark's website, I would encourage you to take a look at his audio, his music, his film work, his theater, his art and painting, the drawings that he actually sells, and all his prints. So I wanted to share with you. I kind of created this last night, and just sit back and relax. So just sharing my TikTok video, but I did share it here. This is where I share a lot of the artists that I feature is on the TikTok. Oh, Katya wants to go up. Can you see his website now?
Yes, now I can. That's
Perfect.
great.
Excellent. So I made this last night just to give you a little snippet of what he does. And I'm just gonna make everybody co-host tonight because you guys are all my beautiful friends. So thank you. I hope that you enjoyed a little bit of his creation.
Consuelo, that's beautiful. Yikes. That was so touching.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. If I'm going to already make you cry, you guys, let's get on with the show. So I'm going to share with you The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, performed by Mark Redfield, by Redfield Studios.
The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. True, nervous, very nervous I have been and am. But why would you say that I am mad? The disease has sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled, above all. There's a sense of hearing acute. I heard all the things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. How then am I mad? Listen and observe how helpful they are. Come, I can tell you the whole story. It's impossible to say how. First, the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object, there was none. Passion, there was none. I love the old man. He had never wronged me, never given me insult. For his gold, I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. So, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded with caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than the whole week before I killed him. And every night, about midnight, I turned the latch of the door and opened it so gently, and then, when I had made sufficient opening for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all close, so that no light shone out, and then I thrust in my head. You would have laughed. You see how cunningly I thrusted in. I moved it slowly, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed. Would a madman have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously, so the hinges creaked. I undid it just so much that a single feeling ray fell upon the punctured. And this I did for 7 long nights. And every night, just at midnight, I found the eye always closed. So it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man that vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning, when the day broke, I went boldly into his chamber, spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a haughty tone, and inquiring how he had passed the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. Watches minute and minutes more quickly than mine. Never before that night had I felt the extended known powers of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph to think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of my secret difficulties. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back a little. His room was black as pitch with thick darkness, for the shutters were closed fastened for fear of robbers, and so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern, and my thumb slipped upon the fastenings, and the old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?" I kept quite still, said nothing. For a whole hour, I did not move a muscle. In the meantime, I did not hear him by now. He was still sitting up in the bed, listening just as I had done night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Presently, I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or grief, no, it was the low, stifled sound that rises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. That's not real. And in the night, just midnight, an old slip that just broken my bones and beating beneath its dreadful echo of terrors distracted me. I say I knew it well, I knew what the old man felt, and I pitied him. Although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been lying awake ever since that first slight noise when he had turned on the bed. His fears had been ever since grown upon him. He had been trying to fancy cause, but he could not. He could say to himself, nothing but the wind in the chimney. It's only a mouse crossing the floor. Or it's merely a cricket which has made a singing chirp. Yes. He'd been trying to comfort himself in his suppositions, but he found all in vain. Because death in a confusion had stalked with his black shadow before him, and never could victim him. And it was the mournful thrills that became the sea shadow that caused him to feel, although he never saw nor heard, to feel my presence of my head within the room. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a little, very little crevice in the lantern, so that you cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot out from the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was open. Wide open, and I was curious as I gazed at it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, a dull blue, with a hideous veil over it that showed the marrow on my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, so I had directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. And now, have I not told you? What you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses. Now I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when you envelop in cotton. I knew that sound well, too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury, as the beating of a drum stimulates the soldier to courage. But even yet I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker, louder. Every instant the old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder. I said louder than ever. You mock me well? I have told you that I am nervous. So I am. And now at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that old house, and strange noises, this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained, stood still. But the beating grew louder. I thought the heart must burst. Now, new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. He shrieked once only. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor. I pulled the heavy bed over him, and then smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. But for many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. could not be heard through the wall. At length, it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yeah, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there for many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eyes would trouble me no more. If you still think that man will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. Night waned and I walked hastily about in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and legs. I then took up 3 planks from the floor in the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the board so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot, whatever. I'd been too wary of that. A tub had caught all. And when I had made an end to these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart. For now, what had I to fear? There entered 3 men who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion started playing in their eyes. Information had been lodged at the police station, and they, the officers, had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled. For what had I fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek I said was my own, and a drink. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I took my visitors all over the house I had searched where I led them. At length, I showed them the treasure, secure, undisturbed. In the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularly at ease. They sat while I answered cheerily. They chatted of familiar things, but ere long I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached tonight. I fancied the ringing in my ears. Still they sat and chatted, and the ring became more distinct. It continued, and it became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but it continued and gained definitiveness until the bank. I found that the noise was not within my ears. Well, no doubt I now grew very pale. And I talked more fluently with a heightened voice, yet the sound increased, and what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much like the sound of the watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath. Yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I rose, and I argued about trifles in a high key, and with violent gesticulations, but the noise suddenly, steadily increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of these men, but the noise steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and grated it upon the boards, but the noise arose overall and continued to increase. It grew louder, and still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Oh, my God. No. They suspected. They knew they were in the walk. Yes, I saw. Yes, I say. But anything's better than that. Anything's more tolerable than this division. Their hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. And now again, hark! Louder! Isn't that shriek to say no more? I admit the deed! Tear up the place! Here! It is the beating of his hideous heart!
That man is good.
Ooh. Yes, absolutely. So, he just brings so much gravitas to his performance. He's in the room on his own, and he's more engaging than God knows how many actors doing a million other things. Incredible, just incredible.
I was just saying, if there's any actors, I mean, studying just that scene alone, they would get so much out of it. Ay, ay,
ay. So true. Well chosen, Consuelo.
Thank you. So as I researched his work for a couple of days, knowing today was a celebration to illuminating the journey of Mark Redfield, I wanted to look for the latest that he had posted. And so for all of you, please make sure to follow Mark's YouTube channel, because it's got a lot of his great work. And also, for those who don't know, and I'll put in his YouTube link, his website is up there on top as I pinned it. And his YouTube has a lot of his work. So for those who don't know, Mark's cinematic endeavors dove into Gothic horror, the classic literature adaptations, as we just saw Death of Poe in 2006, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for film and television. These are his film and television work in 2002. And he stars as Jekyll and Hyde in the adaptation of Robert Louis Stevenson's novel. And in Death of Poe, Mark portrays Edgar Allan Poe. And he also, in film and television, Cold Harbor in 2003. It was a drama about four brothers confronting family secrets after their father's suicide. And Mark played Roger and produced this film. Fall of House of Usher on Netflix. He was so proud of this because it's during just shortly after pandemic. He was so excited going to Vancouver to film this as part, and they actually made a part for him and asked him to write this part. And for those who haven't seen, in 2023, he appears in this Netflix series from the inspiration of Edgar Allan Poe's works. So yes, they're all in his YouTube video. I couldn't believe the amount of work he has done, and actually I celebrate his YouTube video because it has a lot of his beautiful work in there. Go ahead. I think.
Sorry, the House of Usher was just he opens it. He's the first person you see and hear when the series begins. It's really powerful. It's amazing. He is amazing.
Yes, he is. Of course, I had to watch it, and I said, "Oh, he is so distinct. His voice. It's there's those voices that just stand out." And so in the theater world, industrial strength and theater, 1984, Mark Redfield co-founded Industrial Strength Theater Company, known for the avant-garde productions. And the company actually continues to stage performances, including the Baltimore Bazaar of the Bazaar, which he was working on between March 6th to 15th of 2025, you guys. And he actually posted them stuff, and I looked in Instagram, for those who don't know, that he does post quite a bit of his work. Don Juan in Hell, which is May of 8th to 17th, that was supposed to be this year. And then King Ubu, May 14, 2025. So these are the ones that is part of what Mark's work is in this Industrial Strength Theater, which he co-founded. And he has directed and also acted in over 200 plays professionally. So experience, yeah, never lacking. So, and he specializes, obviously everybody knows, producing audiobooks, original audio dramas, and featuring adaptations of classic literature and horror tales. And some of you were good in his ears to say, "Hey, I want to work with you." So, Nevermore um, was produced and performed by his friends and also himself. Sinbad, Pirate Princess, and other productions like any all those Audible productions. Just look at his Spotify, also all the streaming platforms. So you want to get to know a little bit of Mark. He's out there in the social media world. So please make sure to really go into his work. And if you want to listen to some of the things that he does, and also writing and publishing, yeah, he's an accomplished writer, cult of Nosferatu. It's called authored by Stuart Voitila, and also Bertram Wells, the Cheney murder case. And visual art, as I showed you earlier, he has all these beautiful portraits, and he's of his drawings and paintings and cartoons, and the work of art is in his website. And actually, for those who want a piece of Mark's work, it shows you how to purchase them online. So please spread the word of his work. Please make sure he continues to live within us, and also continue his um, legacy through us, and his work is just a beautiful way of saying to the world that there is always a story to tell. So for some of you, I would like this moment to ask you what your memory, the best memory you can find, and what made you laugh. Mark is always that kind of a person that you just have to laugh sometimes. If I can just go around about, or just do doesn't even have to be PTR, go ahead and unmic. It'll be just popcorn.
Well, for me, that's kind of hard to do because I want more memories. I want more memories and more reasons to laugh, man. I literally just left him a message. And I tried to sound as bright and uplifting as I possibly could. And I simply just stated to him, I love you much, man. You were starting to become a father figure in my world. And I appreciate your advice and just your knowledge, just to know a lot and steer young men in the right direction. And I hope you get this message, and I hope you remember who I am. And one day we'll laugh at this. And yeah, so I'm still looking for more memory, you guys. I don't really know how to answer that particular question. But I just love Mark and his entire person, bro. Everything he does is either funny or extra smart. So I'm kind of in the middle of, it doesn't matter what his voice is so attentive and distinctive. When he talks, I'm all ears. I don't give a damn. He's singing Mary Had a Little Lamb. He's just a very, very special guy, bro. And I'm glad I've had the opportunity to get to know of him. You just educated us a little more on who he is. And also put that in the voice note too, that Consuelo was letting us know how brilliant you are. So, again, hopefully we'll all be able to laugh at that one day.
I would like to echo Don Juan when he says that is either something funny or very brilliant. And what is also very funny is even when he will say his dad jokes, we would always comment on that, it being a dad joke. So maybe not hysterically funny, but funny because it was like a dad joke. And so that was, one of the things that we would often laugh about with Mark. And brilliant, definitely brilliant, and all knowledgeable about all things film and history. You have to love him for that. Well, what I love too is in your intro, one of my projects was, also featured in that intro of one of the projects that Mark was getting ready to work on, which is Echoes of Justice. When Mark saw the Echoes of Justice anthology, immediately he came on board and started to be my creative partner in that project. And so it was good to see it there. And also the last project that he worked on, I spoke to him in great detail about how it went, and the day before he got sick, and him, them going to the next one, which would have been that following week. How the audience was building more and more and more, and so he was excited about that. And so I miss him so very much, and I too send him messages almost daily, hoping to get a response from him, and be so surprised when I do, and just elated and excited that he actually texts back. But I love him, as most of us on stage who know him and have come to love him and love his wit and his sometimes again dry jokes, and then also too, Mark could get mad. I mean, we always say a bunch of great things, but Mark could actually get very upset, and when he would get upset, he would have to calm down, or it would not be good. Okay, so. All of it. We love all of it and miss all of it. So, I'll stop there.
There was a point where something happened in our entertainment network room on Clubhouse with somebody in the room, and I'm just kind of building on what Billy was just talking about. Mark could get pretty miffed about things. And he would often, after a room, he would call me and say, did you hear? And you know what? And we would have a real laugh about it. Because most of the time, it was like, yeah, I totally get it. And I know why you're aggravated about it. But there was something that really kind of got under his skin. And he made it into something hilarious. And maybe some of you have seen it on the socials. Mm-hmm. He would be posting pictures of people saying, this is not Darren McGavin's hat. And that all came from something that happened in Entertainment Network. And he basically was just tickled pink that he came up with this thing, and would just keep posting different people in hats. And that was kind of like his own little in-joke, but I knew what it was about. And so, I appreciated his sense of humor as well. But what I really, really love about Mark is his humanity. And that's why, he has touched a lot of people in many different ways, because he's actually really someone who cares, and I've seen him, I've been in rooms with him where I've watched him just, he can hear that somebody's in crisis, or they're having a hard time, or they need some help. And he'll be the first person to say, I'm going to back channel you my number. Call me after this room, or call me anytime, or, don't be a stranger. Don't fall for that. Whatever it is, like, reach out, don't be alone with that. And always the first person to come up with a really creative and constructive way for somebody to achieve something. Always the first person to have the most positive response to a performance or something that somebody shared. His voice would always be the one to say, even when he knew somebody was struggling with a performance of some sort, whether it was music or a monologue or whatever it might be, always the one to really be encouraging. And I really love that about him. I think, that is the essence of who he is as a human being. Running to the rescue, being there as a supporter, as a person who really loves people when he cares about them. It's palpable. And it's been hard not to hear his voice, in the room with us. But honestly, I do feel like his spirit is with us at all times. And over the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity to be able to join Jennifer, who does most of the music for all of his productions and is a very close friend and collaborator of his, because she's been so kind to allow us to do like a virtual visit with Mark when she's been in the hospital visiting. We were going to maybe try to do that again this week, but when I texted with her on Friday, and she said, Joanna, who's Mark's mom, we're going to do like a little kind of Mother's Day get together at the hospital. That was on Saturday. She said, so would you mind if we did it, if we could find another time? I said, of course, absolutely. We're not looking to be intrusive. We just want to be, we're always holding the space for Mark, and holding really positive thoughts in anticipation of hearing him pop up into the room again. So, I did ask if there was any news, any updates, either from the doctors or just anything that she had seen herself. But at this point, not really. I think things are kind of as they've been. And as Emerald shared in one of our rooms together, her mom had been in a coma for 6 months, and she's doing great now. So we can't lose hope, and we're not losing hope. And Mark, when you hear this, you're going to know we're still here for you, and we always will be.
The thing I admired about Mark the most was his interpretation of both visual and performing arts. And I was fortunate enough to share space with him in the fairgrounds, where we interpreted art and our kind of interpretation, the visual interpretations of both film and visual art. And I miss those times where, you could get your interpretation, have your interpretation, and then Mark just always seems to brilliantly come in with his interpretation that would take you 1 or 2 layers deeper and really make you really think about, what's actually being portrayed in the art. So I really admire that about him, and I miss those days and look forward to them, in the future. And the one thing that a couple of you have mentioned, the other side of Mark where he could get a little temperamental. I recall and I laugh and giggle at it and smile about one time we were interpreting some art. And my choice of words weren't to his liking, and he politely and kindly but boldly corrected me or made a statement and stood up to his belief, and I can really appreciate that. So some other people may have taken it the wrong way or taken it to heart, but I admire that about him. So I miss those days and I look forward to them.
I don't feel bad. He did me the same way. And I loved it.
Yeah, that Mark can get into your skin. You hearing me, Mark? Yeah. But he has such a heart of gold. Such a heart of gold.
I really wanted Lauren. Lauren wanted to be here so bad because him and Lauren would definitely go back and forth. Definitely. And then he eventually just was like, you know what? I just see her as my little daughter or my little niece. But they would go back and forth. And Lauren, when he would get stern with Lauren just loved him so much. It didn't even matter. She just respects him so much. She would also on scene stealers just be afraid to even come off mic to do a scene when Mark is in the space because she just respects him so much. And again, even when he was being stern with her. And so she said she was going to possibly be in the room. Maybe she'll pop in before we leave. But I just thought about that out of all of us that was part of the Fairground and then the LRC. I just can remember those days between him and Lauren. They were very interesting.
I wanted to share a couple of memories. So I just want to say thank you, Consuelo, for hosting this room. This is very nice. Don Juan for sending the link. And for Billy, because I got to meet Mark through Billy. One of my favorite memories of Mark is when he was sitting at his little art desk area and showing all of his artwork and things like that. He's super talented. And I remember this one part, Mark being Mark, he had this painting of Billy, and Billy's like, I don't like that picture. But he's like, then he decided, I'm going to show it anyways. This drawing of Billy So Mark being Mark. And then I know I was supposed to do one, but I can't help it. I got to do two. Also, during the auction, when he was doing his, art auction here, and I remember Billy and I forgot who else was going. They were kind of going back and forth to win this art piece. I'm like, wow, he must be super talented because he had these two drawings of the like a set of rats, and of course I'm like, he has to be super talented if I'm actually finding like appeal in these drawings. I could see the artistic side of it. So I just wanted to kind of share the thing. And I was like super happy that Billy was the one that won that auction, because that was definitely something that is going to be, very, very special to have. That's all.
Kim, I wanted to, what about that art auction and when I actually won that art, it was so delightful to hear that, we were even battling for his art. And I don't know, I went live yesterday in my restaurant where I have those rats hanging in my restaurant. And I remember when I told Mark I wanted them for my restaurant, he said, "What? No, honey, I'll make you another one. You don't want that one." And I said, "Yeah, everybody needs a ratatouille, a little ratatouille in their restaurant." He says, "Well, let me make you a ratatouille one." But because these rats were like some real like down gutter like gangster rats, and he couldn't understand why I wanted them. But let me tell you where they are. They're hanging in my restaurant. Okay, I'll mute.
That is hilarious. I love it. Yes, he would do that too. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have, okay, I'm gonna have to go circle back to that, Billy, so hang tight. But welcome.
Okay.
Welcome, Luella, and again, thank you, Hillary, for being here. I appreciate your time. And again, I host this room. Just to reset a little bit, it started off as Fields of Dreams with a lot of artists and entrepreneurs back in Clubhouse days in 2021 when I started it. And I, came here as a beta tester in July, started the room as Fields of Dreams, and then turned it into Fields of Hope in August. So, and I started featuring and showcasing guest speakers who are artists and business owners in this room, because this room actually started with having many of our friends come here, because I'm also an artist, as a film artist, talk about the little things like challenges. I talk about weekly topics and emotional intelligence, trying to get people through their days of the challenge, the how you're going to be able to advocate for yourself, and how you're going to be able to actually be accountable for the things that you're doing as an artist, entrepreneur, whatever it is. And we talk about really have these little beautiful conversations, and a lot of people actually come out saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay at the end, because I'm in a space of emotional intelligence. I want to make sure that nobody's left behind, and my mission always in life is hope, helping one person every day and helping ourselves proudly every day. And that always is with my mission with God. And I want to make sure that this stories and your stories is really impacting many people, that we can all make a difference in one voice and one space. And that's like Chatter or Clubhouse or here in these communities. So I love to support all of you, and I hope we continue to serve one another. And the Angel was featured in the room in Fields of Hope twice already, when she did a pre-release album of her music score for 2 of her films, and she can speak about that today. So I'm gonna just circle back to just let everybody introduce themselves for those who don't know each other, and also if you're running a room here, to just let us know and how they can find you. And if you could possibly share your business website or link tree or whatever it is, please put it in the chat. I don't mind, because that's the space. This space is about networking also, and that's what Mark loved about it. And it actually helped a lot with Mark being in this space back even in Clubhouse. And because he said to me at one point, I'm so grateful that you're here, because I needed it. So when people can say that, and that I am so grateful, or even just say I needed this and I can move on with my week, that to me is just a gold in my heart, and also the purpose of this room. So just wanted to say, you never know if I'm going to go feature you as a guest speaker, and make sure that you are also illuminated in this journey So this is what it's all about. So Angel was featured twice already, and she's gonna continue. She loved it. She had fun. She even showcased her music that she scored in the two of her films. So she'll speak about that in a second. I had Emerald Khan here, who performed her jazz a cappella, and also I featured some of her album releases. As she had also gone through such a difficult position in her life where she lost her son a year ago, and he was just graduating this year. And she was not able to overcome grief, and it was very a difficult position for her. But this room allowed her to show up again for herself, and she was very grateful that that was the first time she actually came to the room and actually went out and decided that she's going to be back in the living again. So I just wanted to thank her for that, and she wanted to be here tonight. I just messaged her to see if she's still going to be able to come. But again, it is Mother's Day, so today is a really sometimes it's a challenge for many mothers who lost their child, who lost their mother, or so, and not really decide to celebrate many things. So I just want to say thank you for being here for a special day. And Mark was very grateful to be here today. Was scheduled to be showcased as a guest speaker, and said, even in a joke to me, Consuelo, you know, it's Mother's Day, right? And I said, yeah, of course. You're gonna belong in that Mother's Day weekend. You're the one who chose it. And he goes, yeah, I know. I'm just letting because he was, I think, scared nobody was gonna show up, right? So, anyways, but I honor him because we're gonna continue to serve him this way. So, let's introduce each other and tell us what your room is, how they can find you. So go ahead and we'll just do it PTR.
Consuelo, would you mind? Lauren just popped in the room, and I don't know how long
Oh,
Lauren has.
yes, of course.
Yeah, Lauren. Hi, Lauren. We were just speaking. Are you able to talk? Great. We were just speaking a little bit about Mark and what we remembered by Mark, and I don't know how much time you have. And I was speaking about you and Mark's relationship and how much you respected him and things like that. So if you don't mind to share a little something about what you
No, absolutely. Mark influenced me greatly. His wisdom, the breadth of his knowledge was incredible. As an artist, I think we have a sense for like another true artist, right? And when I worked with Mark, I just couldn't believe what he could pull out of me. Similar to Billy, but when we did the longest room competition, Mark and I were kind of, working together on a lot of our segments, and we had times, late nights where we would bond over Broadway music, and we would just bounce back and forth sharing our favorite musical songs, or we would, have these moments where, but the way that his brain would think, from even if I would play a song from a musical, to where it would take his brain, and the fact that he would notice when I would do the same thing, and he would be impressed, and he honored the art, right? And that's what made Mark so incredible to be around, to work with, and still to this day, I mean, I can't wait to find out more about how he's doing. I've been kind of out of the loop as far as, the last time Billy and I talked, I knew that he was hospitalized. So, I'm just loving the fact that we're honoring him, and I can't wait to connect with him again. And, I'm always forever on Christmas going to play the audiobooks, because just the sound of his voice, the seriousness that he brought to his work, it was evident. And that's what kind of drives us, is like, as a songwriter, I can wake up, every day and write a song, and I can write 900 songs and hope that one works, right? We don't get up and make art because we know it's gonna work, right? We don't know it's gonna work. We get up and we make art because we love it. And that's what I loved so much about Mark, and his gift to all of us was just him being him. And and that's kind of my piece. So thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm so happy you're here, Lauren. I appreciate you and honor you too. Hillary, would you like to share? We were sharing about Mark and anything, any quirks that you laughed with him, you cried, whatever it is. Hillary, do you have anything to share about Mark?
About Mark, oh my God, so much. He's part of this family. I mean, he's Mark. There's no was. He is. He is part of all of this. The first time I met him was on Clubhouse almost 5 years ago, and it was in a voice acting room, and there were some gatekeepers in there that were being very elitist and I don't even know their names. Like, they did not stick around long, and I don't know them in the voiceover field at all, so they couldn't have been that good. But they were just being real gatekeepy, you know what I'm saying? And Mark just did what Mark does, put his foot down, and he invited me up to the stage, and I had a bunch of questions. I hadn't done voice acting at that time, and I had a bunch of questions. I was just fascinated with it, and I was trying to do Amazon audiobooks at that time, and I wasn't getting any success with it. And much to the chagrin of those guys, Mark literally overtook the room and sat there with me for a good 30, 45 minutes until people pretty much all left, and walked me through what to do. He didn't give a damn if people liked him. He didn't care if you're going to follow him. He didn't care about any of that. It didn't matter to Mark. None of it ever has. None of it ever does, or ever probably will, because it's Mark on Mark's time. And he wasn't going to let someone fledgling in this, in this field just not know. He took me under his wing, and for several months there, it was a daily thing of, are you doing the, he was really like good at holding me accountable for stuff. And then once I got the hang of it, he's kind of like, okay, go fly, baby bird, get the hell out of my nest. and and then it kind of became one of those only talking to him on like Thursdays in Judah's room and things like that, and the Angel's room. And we just got a very comfortable friendship after that. It was one of those things where every time we spoke, we picked right back up from the last conversation where we stopped. There was never any in-between time. It just, I don't know. Time works differently with Mark, you know what I'm saying? And he never brought any of his shit onto the app. Any of his home stuff. He never brought any of the problems or anything he was having going on in his personal life to the public eye. Now, if he had a problem with you, you better watch out, because he will call you out with a quickness. Oh my God. Faster than a 1980s drag queen in Times Square, you're going to get red. Up one side, down the other. Mark's about to tell you all about yourself. So don't piss him off. But it's just been years of very comfortable knowing that someone's there. Just even during the hurricane, he was the first person immediately to start calling around and asking, trying to find me, trying to make sure that my family was okay. He contacted my son. We didn't have electricity, so we didn't know, but he left messages. He's one of the few adults I allow to have my son's phone number to talk to my son. And he's been a good mentor for my child as well. But during the hurricane, he was like, what can we do? Let's get some people together. Let's get some money. Let's do something. Unfortunately, there's nothing that could be done at that time, but he was the very first one to rally troops and to say, we gotta, tell her she's one of us. And he's always been like that. There's nobody at all in his life that he hasn't at some time championed for. That's why we love him so much. And now he needs us to champion for him. And we're here. And we show up because we love him. We'll always love Mark. He can be an asshole. He can be a hard ass. But he is funny, and he is lighthearted, and he is childlike in some regards, and he is angsty in others, and he's just so full of life and emotion and raw, just authenticity. He's Mark. And
does anybody else want to share?
I popped something into the chat. It's a link to one of Mark's Instagram posts, and it came out of left field. It was International Women's Month, And I really wasn't even thinking about it. I was so busy. It was just like, whatever, okay, I'll get to that. I'll think about it at some point when I have a minute. And then he posted something, and then he sent me a text with the post. And it was so sweet. It was so thoughtful.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in support of women, and it was specifically in support of, and I'll just have a quick read of this for you.
I have the visual on the screen, just so you know.
Oh, great.
Your face is there, and Billy King is there.
Yes.
Emerald is there.
Emerald. Yes. And Jennifer, who I've mentioned, who is one of his closest friends and collaborators, is also a composer and musician and a wonderful person. I don't know Donna and I don't know Sarah, but I had no idea he was going to do this. He just did it. He didn't, confer with us and say, hey, anything about it. So I just got the text. I actually saw the text before I saw the post on his socials. And, it just, this is why I say, this is a great example of who he is as a person. Take away being an actor and being this incredible creative and all the other things that we put on ourselves as titles. This is just who he is, that he would actually take the time to put this together and to honor women in his life who he knows, that he respects, that he cares about, and that he knows we love him. It was just really touching. And I responded to that text with something equally as mushy and lovey-dovey, because that's how I felt about him, and that's how I still feel about him. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys, because it's, I don't know a single other man, and my husband is like one of the most incredible men as far as being supportive of women, and especially his wife. But I don't know of another man that actually went out of his way to post something about International Women's Day to this degree. It was really awesome and wonderful. Yeah.
Angel, for the ones who may not have clicked on it, would you like to read what he said in that post?
Sure, I can do that. I hope I can get through it without getting all teary-eyed. But I need to go back to it, so
it's okay if you cry. We won't tell anybody.
That's fine. I don't mind. I just hope I can get through it without kind of choking up and not being able to finish. Okay, here we go. So where did it go? Here it is. International Women's Day 2025. I just want to pause a moment to give a shout out to some of the incredible women in my life. Women I am working with now, will continue to work with, and hope to work with in the future. #writer, #director, Billy King. Composer, Jennifer Rouse. #actor, teacher, Donna Fox. Composer, The Angel. Actor, voice actor, Sarah Bella Joyce. And singer, songwriter, actor, Emerald Khan. Exceptional, period. Powerful, period. Talented, period. Intelligent, period. These are people who inspire me, feed me creatively, and if they'll have me, I'd love a never-ending creative story to unfold. To each and every one of you, you are the best. Accelerate action, Mark, and a nice heart to finish. Yep. And I'm really glad that just before he wound up in the hospital, I responded to this, as I say, in the most mushy, loving way. And that's how I feel. That is our relationship. It's just, and like everybody has said in this room, Hillary included, Mark is 100%. He's there's no pretense, there's no BS. He just is who he is. I respect that, and I can relate. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Brooklyn kid. I tell it like it is. I have learned to not over tell it like it is, because it can come out the wrong way sometimes. But I'm real with people, and I always really just really loved the fact that he was always very real with everybody. And when we would talk about things, sometimes it would be like, did you see that thing that happened? Did you hear that thing that happened in the room just now? It's like, yeah, I get it. And, we would just kind of dissect something. And there was always this very, we were just always on the same page.
Yeah.
It was always like, yeah. And I think we need to cut that person some slack because they were having a bad day or, whatever, it came out wrong, but this is just what it is. And we just have to be kind of, we can be real about how we feel about what they said or how something came about, but we also don't have to attack them for it. So that kind of stuff, and he, he was just a really fun, kind of soldier, because we co-modded in Judah's room. And so often we would be together, and sometimes the room would get a bit funky, it happens all the time. You never know who's going to come in. Often it was not, most of the time it still is not. It's really kind of fun and nice and really lovely. But there are moments where, somebody would come in and kind of rock the boat and screw with the equilibrium of the room. And I always loved it when he was there for those moments because he knew how to diffuse things in that way. And that's important. That's an important part of modding as well, as any of us who've been doing this for the past, God knows, 4 years knows. So, but yeah, I'm glad you asked me to read that, Billy, and I'm glad that he even thought about it and then posted that. It was so beautiful, and it really, really touched my heart. Yeah.
Thank you so much, the angel. When we're together every week since 2022, it's your family, and that's the bottom line. So I wanted to welcome Marcella in the room, and also Moni, and again Tarek. We were just sharing a memory with Mark. How he affected you and made you laugh, whatever it is that you want to share. So if you'd like, Marcella or Moni, it's up. You can unmic anytime. It's popcorn.
Hi, Consuelo. Hi, everybody. I don't know Mark that well. I just know that every time I've been in a room with him, there's just been, I believe, a mutual respect. He's heard me say things, and I think it's, I like to say it's my autistic brain when it gets turned on. Then I start quoting movies or giving movie facts, and I think that he was appreciative of that. I know Billy was, so I think that at some point he was too. He asked me one time, "How do you know this stuff?" So it was nice to be able to have that back and forth with him. He's a kind soul. That's what I felt in using my psychic gift. That's what I felt, how kind he was. He was always very kind to me. So I'm just gonna say, hearts to him and love to him and sweet dreams to him. I so want to invade his mind at night. I shouldn't do that, but I would love to see what he dreams about. I bet it's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, Marcella. Moni, did you want to share something? Did you know Mark also?
No, I didn't know Mark. I just heard him speak, a handful of times in Billy's rooms. I just wanted to come and support the room. And happy Mother's Day to all of us.
Yes, happy Mother's Day, and thank you for coming here again. I really appreciate your time during especially Mother's Day. And Mark would be laughing at us right now that you're showing up on Mother's Day for him, because again, he would have been here interviewed on camera with us. He would be laughing at all of you and going, yeah, you could be something else, but here you are listening to me and my voice. So anyways, I wanted to share one more audio. I'm trying to share the latest that he has created, and earlier I shared the Edgar Allan Poe. But those who don't know, again, I was sharing his website there. Please make sure to the link is there to take a look at some of his print work, his his audio work and also his film work. But I wanted to share, if you don't mind, one of his latest 4 months ago. So the one that I shared earlier was done 3 months ago. The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, performed by Mark Redfield. This was 3 months ago also. It's The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, performed by Mark Redfield. Again, these are about 14 minutes long. So I just wanted to share, because we will be going to a close within. I normally run the room for 2 hours, just so you know. And I just want to make sure that everybody is also able to introduce themselves at the end before we wrap the room. But for those who didn't know, again, Mark is still in his coma, and but he has been moving parts. The angel has, and our beautiful small knit community every week has been with him, in his bedside, with the phone, with Jennifer's phone on his ear while we're talking. So all of us has a little bit of an insert there, and she tells us exactly what's happening when we speak to Mark, and what his movements are in his body. So it's really been a great experience for us to be part of the every week. And Angel, I just appreciate you for putting this together with Jennifer. Jennifer is again one of Mark's very good friend, where she lives in the same state. So we were honored enough to come in, even when his family's there, that we would go into his ear with Jennifer's phone and we would do something. So Lorianne has shared music live. The angel has shared her part of what her and Mark has as a relationship. I shared like a kind of a Shakespeare small short play, that I acted as Mark and I acted as myself. So, or else Mark would be there, and so everybody just had their little beautiful part in it. So this week, we're not in his room talking to his ear, but he is here in spirit because he knows he was going to be here, and I would be mad at him if he didn't. So, just saying. But that's
Consuelo, right before you play that, I wanted to say a few words to Jew doing life in Kim, because it brought something to, it reminded me of something when you said Mark was to be here, and he would be surprised to see how many folks shows up for him, because for whatever reason, as much as Mark has touched us all, I don't know, he is always very surprised when people show up and say nice things. And so for Jew doing life, Don Juan and Kim, if you guys can remember the room that Jew hosted where we were all going around and we were saying something nice about each other. And when it got to Mark, there was so much to be said about Mark. Mark was texting me in the back. He could not believe the things that everyone was saying, because first of all, he always felt like he was just the oldest person in the room, the old man, he would say all the time. And he did not even know that he touched all of you in the ways that he did until that day in that room. And when it was over, he actually he shedded a few tears when he heard how you all felt about him. And so to what Consuelo was saying about he would have been surprised for those who showed up for him, and he never thinks people are going to show up. It's quite interesting how we always do, and it's always overwhelming to hear how people have been touched by him. And at some point, I hope that this is being recorded audio-wise. I know maybe not visually, but that he needs to always know how much we care about him, because he's always so shocked to hear it. And so I just wanted to let Jude and Don Juan and Kim and Doing Life know that, because we all shared that space that day.
Actually, a good idea. If anyone can screen share, we can just go post it to his Instagram, or not Instagram, post it to his Facebook or anything like that, just to let him know that everyone here does love him, and even if he's not here to see it, we will always show up for him the way he shows up for everybody else.
So I have been screen sharing this this episode, and also I have been taping and videotaping it. So all your avatars are all over the place.
On top of everything, girl.
Well, I would never. He'll be like, "Yeah, you're lying to me." No, 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 no. They were there. So when he does wake up, I have something to prove to him. Okay, no, just kidding. Well,
That's hilarious. I love that so much.
Yeah, that's Mark, right? We know Mark. So I'm gonna share with you a little his performance 3 months ago. And I'll share with you, he was here co-hosting when the Yvette was here from Hollywood, being a guest, as a guest speaker in Fields of Hope. And that was a couple of days before, and Billy would attest to this, a couple of days before, so real that incident happened. So, we always think about the person, what their last words were to us. And so I just wanted to invite all of you to always be kind, to always share your whatever it is. If you're mad at someone, whatever it is, make sure you come back with at least, the last word could be the last word for people. And this is a topic we talked about here in this room a couple of weeks ago. And what is it that you would think about to make your life a little bit better every day, that the person leaving your space will remember you by? So I just wanted to say, in spirit, I wanted to say that Mark was the last words I heard from him, was actually joking with me and really understanding that the space with the event, he was just coming in to really support the community. And that's what I really, really remember, is that he's so supportive to every single person he is around. So I wanted to just say that. So here we go. Here is his performance 3 months ago. And you can find this on YouTube if you cannot stay, but I wanted to at least give him an opportunity to perform for us again, because it is just a beautiful thing. So
The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I dawdled, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis the visitor I but tapping at my chamber door. This is nothing more. Distinctly I remember. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow for the loss of Lenore. But the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. Name was here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each paper curtain filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late night visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger. Hesitating then no longer, "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly, your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is, I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave me no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back with the word, Lenore. Back into the chamber turning, and my soul within me burning. Soon again, I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, nothing more. Open here, I flung the shutter. When? With many a fearsome flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. But not the least obeyance maybe, not a minute stopped or stayed, but with mien of lord or lady, perched himself above my chamber door. Perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, I said, art sure no craven, ghastly grim and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Newtonian shore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, relevancy more. For we cannot help but bring no living human being ever yes, blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such a name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word did outpour. Nothing farther than the other. Not a feather than he fluttered till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till his songs one burden bore, till the dirges of his hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smile. Straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then, upon the velvet sinking, I put myself to linking fancy and fancy, thinking, what to this ominous bird of yore, what is grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore, meant in croaking, nevermore. With this I sat, engaged in guessing, with no syllable expressing, till the fowl's fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining on the cushion's velvet lining, where the lamplight floated o'er. But whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight floating o'er, she I press. Nevermore. Then I thought, the air grew denser, perfumed from some unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh, quaff, this kind of nepenthe and forget, this lost Lenore, quoth the raven, never more. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempest sent, or whether tempest tossed, thee here ashore, desolate and all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by all haunted, come truly, I implore. Is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet, still if bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, by that God do we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, within the distant maiden, it should clasp a sainted maiden, from the angel's name, Lenore, clasp a rare radiant maiden, from the angel's name, Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting. Get me back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door, take thy beat from out my heart, take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid busted palace just above my chamber door. And his eyes have the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplights for him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. But my soul, from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted, nevermore.
Hi, fire. You're up. Oh, so, my friends, his voice continues in our heart, and this was illuminating the journey of Mark Redfield, a legacy of voice in the spirit of his stage. And so, before I close, I wanted to thank you for joining us in Fields of Hope. And please follow the channel on top, as it is a weekly room, and I would love to support you in any way. The legacy in his voice is an eternal flame in his art. And for all of us, continue to keep listening, keep creating, and never lose your story. And one thing about Mark Redfield, he is awakened by tonight because your voice was heard. When I opened this earlier this morning, I wanted to close it with a prayer to awaken the soul of Mark Redfield again. Divine Creator, breathe and breath of all that lives, we gather in quiet reverence with voices woven in gratitude and hope. Call forth, O Spirit of Light, and let your warm movement shine through and move through Mark, from crown to heart, from heart to heel. Let the morning of his soul arise, not rushed, not shaken, but steady as the stage light returning after the hush. May the songs we offer, the stories we remember, be like winds at his window, reminding him that we are near and that his voice still matters. Speak gently into the chambers of his being, not as thunder, but as a lullaby, that his voice still matters. And it's not as urgency, but invitation. Mark, beloved artist, of word and breath, your story is not done. Your light is still being drawn with strokes of gold and violet, and we are here celebrating you, waiting for joy, for the echo of your return. In love, in honor, in faith. We speak your name into this world, Mark Redfield. Arise in the presence, and peace be with you. Amen. Would anybody like to share their last words?
Consuelo, just check in the chat. Clara's written that she's lost her voice.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Han. Yes, definitely vocal rest is important. And thank you for being here, my love. We'll go around PTR order and perhaps share your last words before we close or wrap this episode because Mark is listening. So, Annalie?
Thank you, Consuelo. I didn't have much interaction with Mark. As I wrote in the chat, I'm not really much into movies and acting. But when I was in rooms with him, I always felt his presence. He's a gentleman. He's always well spoken. He's always kind. And yeah, he just has that gravitas that makes him memorable. And when I heard what had happened, I was quite shocked. But because of many stories I've heard and experiences I've had, I do believe that he's holding on for a reason. That his mind needs a rest, his brain needs a rest, his body needs a rest. But when it's ready, it's going to come back and he'll be with us again.
Thank you so much, Annalie. Ju? Ju will return back to you if you're available. The Angel?
I'm just really happy that you chose to continue with this room today. I think this was a beautiful way for us to keep Mark really close. And I'm really grateful that you did it, Consuelo. I think this was beautiful. So, and I know that when Mark hears this, he's going to think so too.
Thank you, The Angel. And Coach?
Yeah, I just want to say to Mark that your voice is truly missed, but your voice definitely resonates in our hearts, our minds, and our souls, and even through the rooms here on Chatter. So we definitely look forward to your return, and we patiently await to hear from you again. Be blessed.
Thank you, Coach. Kim Lam?
Yes, I just want to say thank you again, and I'm glad I was able to make it in here. I really appreciate that you did this, and definitely it makes me feel good to hear everything that's being shared. So thanks again.
Thank you, my love. And Don Juan?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the space. I really enjoyed the energy and the vibes. I'm really big on that. And Mark, if you're listening, get up.
Yes. And Moni, would you like to share your last words? Oh, she had left. Billy? I'm not sure if Billy's still here, but
I'm here. Yes,
oh,
I'm here.
go ahead.
I do want to also thank you, Consuelo. This was beautiful. It really was beautiful. It did feel like Mark was actually in the room during a lot of this. And so thank you so much for that. And Mark, when you hear this, just know that I love you and I miss you. And just cannot wait to be able to have those daily check-ins again. So until our next check-in.
Thank you, Billy. And Jew?
Yes, I wanted to say, hi everybody, and thank you for hosting this room. I met Mark in Billy's room for the LRC challenge, and ever since then, I be calling him my Uncle Mark. So I miss him. Like when he was playing that video earlier, like I wrote it in the comments. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard his laugh in so long. I miss his laugh. It was very contagious. I remember the first time I actually had a conversation with him. I was doing the skit in Billy's room, and I don't have no acting experience, okay, for improv or anything. And I think it was like Frankenstein's wife or something, like being awoke from dead or something. I don't know, but it was actually like he got me to do something that I hadn't done in a long time. So I just wanted to thank him for that, and I just miss him. That's my uncle, y'all. I call him my Uncle Mark, so I really hope that we get to make more memories soon, and yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet, Jew. I love it. Go ahead. Luella, did you want to speak? All right. Well, thank you so much. And I know Fire is resting her voice, so rest your voice, my love. And Katya was here earlier, just so you know, from Italy. And for those who don't know, I'm actually working with Katya. I actually won her program during LRC, and it was a surprise to me when I was texted that I had won something that I didn't know she was giving. So I have been working with her under her Golden Bridge program, and what a beautiful experience. If you ever get to work with Katya, it's a really beautiful experience, especially coming from Italy when we're doing the live calls on a weekly basis. And she is diving quite deeply into anything to do with, for those who know, I live with a chronic illness. It's a condition since I was 40 when I was diagnosed. It's a life management, and in 2023, my entire body could not move. So my arms would not move, my hands would not move, my legs would not move. I could not even get out of the bed. So I fought every day for a year and a half to regain my health, regain my strength, and regain to be able to show up. And I still showed up every week, no matter if I was not well, in Clubhouse before I transitioned to Chatter. And I still showed up even I was not feeling well. But for me, it was a commitment to myself, for my mind, body, and spirit, that I know it's not just about me, it's about always what we can give to others. And that's how I live my life. And I just wanted to share this moment that no matter where you go in your life, no matter how hard it takes, just like Mark has shared his, it's not always just about the win. It's always just being able to be there for someone. So, and thank you for sharing your heart and your message. And they are all beautiful experiences in your own personal way, which is so important in life right now. And we are all storytellers. We all have something, a voice. And that's what Mark has done in his entire life, is create that voice of reason, voice for those who are silent. So as I shared earlier, I appreciate you I love you, and honoring all of you as an artist, business owners, and let's make Mark Redfield a daily reminder that he needs to wake up. So give him his messages that you want, and continue to do so, because this life, there's miracles that always happens, and it takes you to make it happen. So yeah, we will wrap the room with thank you, I am grateful, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Peace and blessings.
Goodbye, everybody. Lots of love, Consuelo.